if you look at any of the mainstream networks, if you look at the conversation that's happening on Twitter, if you look at liberal talking heads, they are physically shedding tears for the 60-plus Palestinians who died. And I want to let them know that it's tragic when anybody loses their life. There is nobody that is celebrating the death of these people. The death of these people could have been avoided, and it should have been avoided. But many of the people who were killed, many of these Palestinians, were not innocent bystanders going for a walk. They were not people who were just mass murdered by these terrible Israeli forces. These were people who were actively assaulting the border of Israel, terrorists.
Well, they're more than that, Liz. They're trained soldiers that are part of the Hamas military wing that is funded by Iran, much of which that money came from the United States under the Obama administration. So this was part of President Obama's anti-Israel, pro-Islam strategy, and to undermine Israel in the region was to do the Iran nuclear deal, give them money, make sure that Syria, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis in Yemen were flush with cash. And so here, under the microscope, along this flashpoint along the Israeli border, this is all orchestrated and paid for. And every combat zone I've ever been in, where you've had these kinds of incidents where you've got insurgent forces, they use people as human shields. And that's what these quote-unquote protesters are. I mean, an Israeli drone got shot down today. How, if you follow the liberal narrative, these are just peaceful protesters with rocks to defend themselves. Well, how do you shoot a drone down with a rock? So, these are heavily armed troops that are moving amongst the people that they have, rushing the wall and rushing the gates and that kind of thing. But more importantly, Liz, the liberal mindset today, anything that is pro-Trump, they have to fight. And so now what you've got is the liberals in this country aligning themselves with Hitler and being anti-Israeli, anti-Semite, anything that is, they are not the friend of Israel, the Democrats and the liberals. And so if you're a Democrat, if you're someone who typically votes Democrat and you're Jewish, I would change parties real quick, or I would vote for the other party, because the liberals in this country have lost their minds as they look at anything that is pro-Trump. They oppose immediately, regardless of whether or not it's good for national security, good for the country, good for the world, which, it's about time that we put the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem, quite frankly. Where I have been, I've stood there, and it is the proper place for that embassy.
Right.